Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Pablo, and welcome back to the channel. I'm at you guys with another episode of the New Orleans Pelicans rebuild, and this is episode 7. But there's not going to be any gameplay in this video. It's just going to be pretty much going through the stats and the other award races, and then I'm making a trade at the end of the video. So definitely stay tuned for everything else in between, so you see how we got to the trade there. But before we get into everything, I'm just showing you guys where we are currently in the season. This isn't quite a mid-season update, but it's near mid-season. We're sitting at 24-19, and we only have 2 untouchables. Of course, that's Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday. Everybody else pretty much can be moved, so you guys will see what I try to do here at the end of the episode. But right now, we're looking at the award races. For MVP, number 1 is James Harden, number 1, and then you had Russ and Steph also in the conversation. So those are the usual suspects for that award. And then you have for the Rookie of the Year, number 1 is going to be DeAndre Ayton, averaging about 13 and 7. Luka Doncic, number 2, who's hurt. Michael Porter, Trae Young, and Marvin Bagley are all also playing pretty well. And then you have Larry Nance Jr. Playing on that Cavaliers team, who is playing pretty well right now. He's number 1 for 6th Man of the Year, making his contribution with about 11 and 7 on the team. So that's pretty good. And then for Defensive Player of the Year, we have number 1 is Anthony Davis right now. So that's very impressive. As always, he puts up great offensive numbers, and then he's averaging nearly 2 steals and over 2 blocks a game. So that's very, very impressive to be playing on a defensive and offensive end at that high of a level. And then for number 2, you have DeAndre Jordan, Andre Drummond, Clint Capella was also on the list. But for most improved player, this is a little bit interesting. Ben Simmons is number 1, Lonzo Ball is number 2, and then you have Dennis Smith, Anunoby, and then Frank. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. But that's weird because all of these guys were rookies last year. So I thought that was pretty weird for those to be nominees for most improved player. But I guess it can happen. But anyway, for the leading scorers, number 1 is Steph Curry. Then you have James Harden. Anthony Davis is actually 3rd. So shout out to AD being 3rd in scoring. And then we're looking at the rebounding numbers as well. So leading the league in rebounds is Andre Drummond. Anthony Davis is coming in at number 2. So I'm going to show you guys some of the major category, the top 10 for all of these. And then Dwight Howard is actually rebounding pretty well and playing very well, averaging about 10 and 10 on the season so far in Washington. And then Giannis is actually playing pretty well, rebounding the ball. And then leading the league in assists is Russell Westbrook, and then Chris Paul, and then James Harden are the top 3. So number 2 and 3 on the same team in assists. So that team has got to be pretty scary when it comes to the ball movement. So we'll actually look out for them in the playoffs, and we'll see if we can get some gameplay against them before the season is actually over. And then also, if you take a look, Jrue Holiday is number 6 in the league in assists right now, averaging about 7.5. So that's huge for Jrue, considering he plays most of his time off the ball at that 2-guard spot. So that's great for him. Nice accomplishment so far, and hopefully he'll be able to continue playing at that level from the 2-guard spot. But Anthony Davis right now is averaging about 25.3 a game, and then about 14 rebounds a game, 2 blocks, and like I said before, about 2 steals. Jrue is averaging 17.6 and 7. Etuan Moore is actually our 3rd leading scorer, and then Mirotic is actually behind him at just under 12 points a game. But now we're looking at the standings right now. The Pelicans are sitting at the 6th spot with a record of 24-19. So they have been able to put together some wins with this team, with adding the pieces that we have. With Trey Burke, he's played well. Jeremy Grant has played well. So this team is in a pretty good spot, getting close to mid-season. So we're just going to have to keep it up and see how we can improve the team through the trade and continue to get better to truly be a contender this year. And I feel like the Pelicans have to make move each year to try to show Anthony Davis that they are trying to win games and they're not rebuilding. So that's what I'm going to try to do at the end of this episode as well. But here are the Eastern Conference standings. So the team that has seemingly taken over the East right now is the Toronto Raptors. They always play well in the regular season, but this time there's no LeBron in the Western Conference to throw them off, to knock them off. So we'll see how they actually perform. But here are the power rankings right now. So the Pelicans are 11th right now. The power rankings are a few games behind because they don't have one of our wins and one of our losses. But going down the list, it's the usual teams that are at the bottom. You have the Bulls, the Suns, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, and the worst team right now as far as power rankings are the Sacramento Kings. And they're playing without Luka Doncic. So it seems like they're going to have another good draft pick. And here is the talent that we can look forward to playing in the next season. But going back to the standings and the power rankings, number one is actually the Houston Rockets. They have Chris Paul playing at a high level, James Harden playing at an MVP level. So they're 40-5 right now. So that team is playing very, very well. So we definitely look out for some gameplay. I'm going to try to get some gameplay versus them on the channel coming up very soon. But one of the biggest surprises so far in the season is that the Los Angeles Lakers are 21-22 with the team that they have. So that's pretty interesting. We thought they would be a little bit better, but LeBron is struggling in the West. That definitely got stronger over the offseason. So it's going to be interesting to see if they even make the playoffs, because if you saw the standings, they were at 9th. So definitely stay tuned to see how that plays out once we get a little bit closer to playoff time. And the Pelicans have defeated the Lakers previously in the season, so that's a side note. But right now I'm looking at the rookie report. So look at these names and these numbers to see how your favorite rookies are doing in their different homes than they have in real life, because like I said, I simulated the first season and the draft order was different. So these players have different homes due to the different draft order. DiVincenzo actually went to the same team as Aaron Holiday, so that's interesting. They both went to Atlanta, so that could be the backcourt of the future there. But definitely rewind and pause if you want to know how your favorite rookie players are doing in this MyLeague. But before we finish the episode, of course, like I said, I'm making a trade. And I'm going to be going for Mike Conley. That's what I'm going to be trying to trade for. And you guys see there's some rumors and some tweets saying that the Grizzlies are shopping him around. I did get an initial offer from them, but I tweaked it a little bit. So Mike Conley, he's an older player. If you look at his career numbers, they are declining year by year. So I'm assuming that's why the Grizzlies want to get rid of him and go toward the rebuild process, because it's not quite working there anymore with that grit and grind style of game in the NBA anymore, especially in the Western Conference. But here are his latest games. He had a very good 30-point game, but other than that, it's been between 12 and 19 points. And then Mirotic, on the other hand, he's been having some pretty decent games, not playing a consistent enough game for me. So I'm going to be looking to move him along with E'Twaun Moore to get the salaries to work. Yes, I had to throw in E'Twaun Moore and a first-round pick. I felt that that was a suitable offer for Mike Conley, because although the Grizzlies may be attempting to move on from him, he's still a solid point guard, and I believe can be a franchise point guard still, even at this old age. He's an excellent scorer. He's a smart player, excellent facilitator, very good passer, and like I said, a smart player. So that's the type of veteran that I think this Pelicans team really needs, and he has a few years left on this contract. He's going to be the third player in our big three for at least the next 2 years, and we're going to try to put some players around him, and hopefully if the Pelicans can come up on a very good wing, I feel like this will be a team that can make a championship run. We just have to fill the team out, maybe not this year, but like I said, in order to get the numbers to work, I had to throw in E'Twaun Moore and Ajinça, because Mike Conley does have a near max contract So we do have to take that on each year. So we're not going to be too deep. But I feel like the big three, Mike Conley, Drew Holiday, and Anthony Davis, is going to be pretty good and good enough to at least get us deep in the playoffs. And it was pretty difficult getting rid of each one more in this trade, but I had to in order to take on the salary of Mike Conley. But I feel like I had to throw in that first round pick because we're not expecting that to be a low pick anyway. It is protected just in case. And we are also looking to get DeAnthony Melton, the rookie shooting guard out of USC. He's a rookie shooting guard. He's a pretty good scorer, although his shooting does need a little bit of work, but I feel he can be a steal. And considering what we did offer, I think that would be a good piece to complement. And we also had to throw him in to make the salaries work. But the Grizzlies are going to end up accepting this offer. So we officially send Nikola Mirotic, Etuan Moore, Alexia Jinsa, and a first-round protected pick to the Memphis Grizzlies for Mike Conley and DeAnthony Melton. So the Pelicans get a franchise point guard to play the third role in their big three, and the Grizzlies get younger and fuel their rebuild with another first-round draft pick and what a lot of people think will be a very talented and deep draft. And then they also get a lot of shooting in return. They fill a need at power forward that they really had. They don't have anybody playing consistently at the power forward. But other than that, that has pretty much been an episode of the New Orleans Pelicans rebuild. We covered a lot of information, so this episode was a little bit longer than normal. So go back and review if you missed anything. But otherwise, look out for the next episode. We're going to be playing against Trae Young and the Orlando Magic in the next episode. So you guys don't want to miss that one. Otherwise, you guys have a great one and be safe. Later.